Good morning, and it's 8:30 now in the morning on this Wednesday morning. It's Wednesday the 16th today. As you can hear now, is they're spraying the crop. The actual corn, sweet corn, is coming up fast. Let me show it to you. Yeah, this is the second crop coming up in about 3 months. So this field is yielding good return at the moment. Yeah, getting back to, I'm not going to talk about Trump today and his policies, because there's only people who agree and people who disagree, and I'm not really here to cause conflict on my channel politically. When I talked about the British Steel the other day, there are some people who raised the issue about what's my opinion on North Sea gas and oil. Well, it's really disappointing as well. I mean, the North Sea gas and oil is people seem to think it's just British or Scottish, whatever. Some people like think it's just Scottish. British, actually no, it's divided among many countries. It's divided among Britain, Norway, Holland, Germany. But it's not that they're just the countries, but actually companies involved in that own the licenses for are even many more. America, China are all in there as well, with large stakes in North Sea gas and oil, which is how it works. Yeah, we've got a fair stake in it with British companies, the likes of BP, etc. But yeah, it's not simply the revenues going to one environment, one country. It's everywhere, which is why prices, international prices, determine the price of our energy in the UK. It's not a question. We have our own energy, and we just use our own. And then why do we have to worry about a high price? Well, because we are set by international standards of everyone else who's involved in it. And I think people must understand that, and that's why I say, I'm hearing on the news, in debates at the moment, some people are saying, because of the British Steel, why aren't we doing what Donald Trump does and bring more industries back to the UK? And well, look, I hope we don't go down that route, to be honest with you, because what Donald Trump is doing, he's not going to achieve it. He's going to fail miserably, and it's going to become a higher cost to the United States. It'll bring the USA down. And if we were to do the same, if we were to say, right, we're going to produce our own steel, make our own, produce our own raw materials, and manufacture everything in the UK, it would be a significant mistake. We can't go back to the days of when we had the Industrial Revolution, or anywhere close to it. We were losing our car industries as a whole in the 60s and 70s, the automobile industries, for the mass markets. We still have the luxury market to some extent. And the only reason we've been able to get foreign auto producers in our market is to give them kind of incentive to be here, and that's what we've got to do. I don't understand. We get it right in some areas, we get it wrong in other areas with our way of performing. We have a fear for China put into our heads by arrogant and ignorant politicians that pick out China as being a villain of the world, because they happen to be very good at what they're doing, at getting the most, exploiting, you could say, the world from a business development point of view, but we'll do the same. You know, as a business person that wants to expand business, we're not a charity organisation. You don't say, oh, we're going to buy this business so we can lose a lot more money. We don't do that. And neither does China. But we put everything in a political context that, you know, China are buying a company so that they can take over the UK. Well, influence in the UK from an economic point of view could well do, of course, because we're not very good at it. We don't want to work long hours. We want to get paid too much money, and we want to be as unproductive as possible in the real world. I mean, I'm sorry, guys, but that's us. That's the British at the moment. We used to lead the way when it came to in industrial means, but we don't anymore. And to think we can just turn it back and do it again when we got very, very, you know, China over 30 years has now become the largest and the best steel producer in the world. They produce good steel of various qualities, from virgin through to the cheapest element. Okay, so steel is not just steel. Steel is graded accordingly. You know, you have steel where you smelt steel down. That's already been made into steel. So in other words, it's not made from a good quality iron ore. Okay, so steel that's smelted down, and to make steel rebar, for example, or steel for motor vehicles, or whatever the case may be, that steel may be adequate for what it's doing, but that steel that's using older steel to smelt and to remake it into steel, the reuse, has an amount of sulfur in it because of the method and the way it's reused. You know, that steel has sulfur in it, and the more sulfur you have in steel, the more brittle the steel becomes. So you don't want to have that type of steel in building construction when it comes to steel girders and things for construction, that type of thing. Okay, and that's the point. So steel, that's what we call the virgin steel, the steel that is the best, the purest, the best quality. Now China produces that in loads at a fraction of the price. So does India, so does Brazil, so does Germany, so does South Africa, or they used to. So do many other countries. There are many countries out there that do. Britain can't do it, although they have the technology, the means, because that's where the process of steel developed. I mean, steel production didn't start in Sheffield. When I made the point about steel starts in Sheffield, no, it didn't. But how steel is produced to get the best qualities did come out of Sheffield, and I can't remember the guy's name now, back in the 1700s. But his process to get to a virgin steel through iron ore is the process that gets the best quality virgin steel. British Steel is still a good name around the world, despite the British fucking it up. It is a very good name around the world, and that's my point about China would pay dividend to have British Steel as one of their brand names, and we could be earning from that. We could be getting a dividend for the use of using our history and our development in getting to British steel. So British steel, virgin steel being used, manufactured worldwide, and us being able to negotiate keeping the steel mill open in Scunthorpe. Okay, that's 750,000 loss a day or whatever it is. We could probably negotiate that into a deal with China and extend on the branding of British Steel, keep the jobs going. British Steel in Scunthorpe could make its little knicky-knacks and things it wants to do, not make a lot of money because it can't compete with the big steel mills around the world, but it could still be negotiated in a process of keeping it open, as well as we promote our British steel worldwide. Because we could do that. We could do that, because this is what it's all about. Selling the name, selling the process of the business. The Chinese will pay dividend for for that. But we worry about espionage. Ooh, they're going to take over our steel industry. They don't want to. They don't need to. They don't need to. They know how to make steel these days, and they're very good at it. But there's one thing we've got. It's not our empire anymore, but we've got British Steel, a brand. You know, it's a kind of a process of where it started. It's like the MG motor car that's in China. You know, when MG failed here back in the 70s altogether, the little sports cars. I had one, it was a great little car, MG Midget. But they couldn't make any fucking money here. And in the end they folded after a few people getting involved in them. They folded. In the end, China bought the brand. China bought the brand. They didn't carry on making crappy little old sports cars that couldn't really make any money, but they've developed the car brand. They talk about it as the original British brand of MG, and their cars are going from strength to strength. It's not the most popular car in China, but it is one of the cars in China. And there you go. They think positively about British brands. And we're scared of that. Why be scared of it? Let's exploit it from our point of view, with our diplomacy, with our negotiation. Let's use some fucking brains in how we enhance our business. Let's not try and think we can compete with China on British steel, or on steel production, virgin steel, should I say. Let's use our history, our diplomacy, our skills in the English language, which we still have in most places. We're actually battling to keep that in the UK as well. I get better English communication coming out of many other foreign countries that use English as a second language than I do from the people in England. What, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. So, but points I'm making, gentlemen, and ladies, of course, we have got to work hard at what we are good at. British Steel could be saved by managing it the right way and using China to help us get there, as making it a brand name throughout the world, like it used to be. Talk again.